Welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast hosted by some people who are about as useless as 5e CR systems.
Oh!
Wow, we're just coming out the gate. All right.
Speak for yourself.
Now I know.
My name is John Santana. All right. So,
I use the CR system, and it kind of works.
yeah, we'll go in. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about that shortly.
We will be.
But first of all, I want to introduce our guest. Joining us this evening, we have Justin, who is TheDMsGuide, who has decided to come along and help us host this shindig.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Atlas is having trouble talking today.
Boss.
It's not any different, really, than the other day.
Oh, fuck you. I mean, he's right, but damn it, you don't have to call me out first thing on the show.
Well,
Our
but thank you guys.
Our viewers know you.
Yeah, the DM's guide on Threads and Insta, pretty much. If you know the Dripping Creative Network with Chris Corvin, been doing some stuff over there lately, so.
Which everyone should go check out. As soon as you're done here, go over there. It's some interesting stuff. Yeah, good people, real good people.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me on.
No, it's an
Absolutely.
absolute pleasure, man. And thanks for coming on. So we don't have still Justin, but we do have a Justin.
Yes, this
Yes.
is my Justin. You have your Justin. This is my Justin. Because
Is this that my Justin can beat your Justin in a fight?
Oh,
Because-
Good luck.
absolutely, 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 without question.
I think we'll just have to pit them against each other like fucking Pokemon.
I agree.
I mean, what if we team up, though? Then,
That is
then
true.
I'm out of that situation completely. Then you're gonna just go at John. It's fine.
I mean,
Because wait, you played
I've
you
seen
played
less
D&D,
erotic
right?
things in my life.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. That's
So both Justins play D&D. John, you're fucked. Like, you are outnumbered.
I think just by the fact that it's D&D, I'm outnumbered because, market share.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
I mean, fair. I
That's
don't
the
just
thing.
play D&D. I'm really trying to branch out, so it
I-
took me way too long.
I
Please,
just
Alice.
switched. I would say I just switched from D&D to Level Up. And that's not because I want to stick it to the man or like, fuck the system. I like D&D 5e as a system. I just like Level Up more. That's all it is. I have nothing bad to say about D&D other than the people who made it. That's
That's fair.
I feel like that you can. I already have the books. I'm not going to throw them out. Like, this is
No,
gonna
I
do no
understand.
good.
It's like a lot of things, with like movies and books and things like that. It's like you don't necessarily have to hate the media, but like
Mhm.
you can absolutely hate the people behind it. So that's my personal stance. Maybe that's a hot take for this show, but
No, I don't think it's a hot take at all. Like, I think for certain things, like some people are like, oh, you have to separate artists from art. I think that if you can do that and it not morally hurt other people, go for it. But sometimes I feel like even when you support the art, you're still supporting the artist. And it's
that's
like,
fair.
as soon as other people start getting damaged or hurt, I'm out. I'm like, nah. But
I just think it's funny. I honestly, if you were to actually sit me down and just kind of go, what is it you don't like about 5e? I kind of go, nah, I don't really give a shit about it. But I just think it's funny. Unfortunately, I'm one of these people that's like, yeah,
That's
all
okay.
right.
If it's not for you, it's not for you. I mean,
I was gonna
that's kind of the cool thing about there's so many different like TTRPGs out there,
It's just-
like all these different
it's just-
systems and stuff.
It's just funny slagging it off. I can't help myself.
there's nothing wrong with that though. Like I just like what Justin said, like that is something about the TTRPG community is that there's so many systems you can play that if something isn't your jam, go pick up another one. Like, and that counts for systems, that counts for people, that counts for shows. Like, it's literally like people think it's you have to do this in mainstream or else it doesn't count. And I'm like, no, you can do whatever the hell you want, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and have fun. Again, I say that so many times on the show, someone's gonna end up duct taping my mouth, but like it is a game. The word game is in the title. Have
Yep.
fun. Like, yeah. Yes.
So, speaking of this wonderful hobby that we have, what have you guys been up to during the week in terms of gaming?
Justin?
Well, this week, our normal group did not get together this last Friday, so I'm hoping we will this Friday. I alternate. So I run, obviously, we were talked about, I run a D&D 5e campaign. I run it in the Eberron setting. It's very homebrewed. And then one of my players in that game is actually, she GMs for our Star Wars 5e game. So, and in that I play 2 characters because as the GM forever guy, I rarely get a chance to play. And when she started it, we only had 4 people. And so she's like, well, I would like the group to be a little more well-rounded. I was like, I got you. Don't worry. I'll just play 2 characters.
So you play 2 characters in the same game?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Star Wars game.
How do you even do that? How do you do that? Like, do you just talk to yourself? Like,
sometimes, yeah. There's been some moments where, because my characters, I interwove their stories a little bit, like their backgrounds. Yeah, sometimes I'll be like, I'll turn this way for one character, and I'll turn this way for the other character, so people kind of have an idea. But
I have never heard of that. I desperately need you to like record that. Like, record it, throw it on Threads or YouTube, whatever.
Okay.
Like,
I'll go back. I'm pretty sure I've got a conversation. It's way easier in Discord, like between sessions when we kind of like RP, like to get through some stuff.
Yeah.
Because then I can just be like, this character's talking or this character's talking.
That's fair. That's very
yeah,
fair.
we had a fairly new player come along. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent now, but we had a new player come along, and she just realized after being there for 2.5 months that she said in Discord, she's like, "Oh my god, I just now realized you play 2 different characters."
How did she not notice?
I don't know.
Oh, bless her heart. Oh.
It's a large table, though. We have I think we've got 7 people now, so 8 characters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's impressive. Our home table is 5 players, 1 GM. So that, in my opinion, for me, I'm like, that's a lot.
That's about a perfect table for me as a longtime DM. If I have 5 players, that's my butter zone right there.
It's been nice so far. Like I was a baby GM. I will forever be a baby GM. But I've been GMing for I think a year-ish now. We're coming up on a year.
That sounds right, because you started right about when Threads kicked off, didn't you? And that was last summer, so
yeah, because Connell was like, "Hey, Atlas, you want to jam? Here you go." I'm like, "Wait, what?" It's the 5 is really nice because when we're down a player, like I can still do it, but it's kind of like, okay, like I need to put a little more effort into it. And then I've had some people that are like, "Hey, can I play?" And I'm like, let me just start a whole new table because I don't want to go past 5, but yeah.
Well, it's an interesting point, though. We have, both her and I have had that where people have kind of come and gone and things like that. And we have pretty open tables for friends to kind of hang out and stuff like that. And what I usually do is, since I'm kind of used to running a larger table anyway, I may just give them kind of I don't want to say a throwaway character because I love all characters, but I might give them more of an NPC with more like a stat block versus a full character. So it's this is an almost NPC that's been kind of in with the group, but maybe this is their episode to shine. So they can still kind of sit in if they want to. If they don't want, then it's not a big deal. But at least I can just be like, oh yeah, here's something to.
That's kind of brilliant, actually. That's not a bad idea. I might have to use something like that.
Using stat blocks is really helpful for that, so that we don't have to generate a whole character.
I have a bunch of. I'm moving. For anybody who's watching this and doesn't know, I am moving across 3 states. So as soon as that is done, I have every intention of opening up my Discord to having closed door games where it's just people playing games. And that is one thing I've always struggled with is okay, do I need to chase down all these people and come up with characters for each one, or do I do a pre-gen or a stat block? So that's an interesting way of kind of introducing a new character into a table that's already running, and I really like that. I might have to steal that from you.
If they are going to be a long-time player, I will go ahead and I'll do a full character for them, but that's usually my hey, just to test it out, or if they're brand new, especially to a system or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot easier.
Not a lot of people know even. Yeah. That's
I mean, it is akin to playing a pre-gen. I'm a huge fan of pre-gens. I think they're fantastic for getting for kicking the wheels, for kicking the tires on the system. The best thing you can do is get a pre-gen because they will be built reasonably balanced, and you'll be able to kind of get to enjoy the system as much. You'll be able to get to see what the intent for that particular character, especially if in a class-based system. If you're doing things like Delta Green, which is a skill based. It's not as important. And you were mentioning table size. For the past couple of years, I was kind of in a position where I had to have a larger table size. So we're talking 6 players and up, because everybody at the table was working shift work. So to be able to get everyone together at the same time was next to impossible. So we had to kind of go, right, okay, so there's 6 players. I will run when there's 4 of you. Doesn't matter which 4. But now things have kind of stabilized. I've got like players in a better, more consistent position. I can be a bit more, keep it down to a tight 4 or 5, and I'm done.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, we usually try to run. I mean, up until I would say the point where I'm at now in my game, my Eberron 5e game, is I've been pretty loose on, as long as we have like a majority of people that can be there for the session. But now that we are kind of narratively locked into a final arc, I'm really trying to make sure, because this game has been going on for 6 years off and on. So like, I really want like everybody to be there for every session. So if I don't have all 5, I'm like, that's cool. We'll wait. We'll try and get through as much as we can the next time we meet. But like, I've got them, they're at a location that is like, they're going to be in here. It's going to be a dungeon crawl for a minute. So I don't really want people coming and going for that. And then after that, it's going to be like high velocity. Like we're going to be at like a dead sprint for kind of the end of everything happening.
Okay.
But up until this point, yeah, I've been pretty open to having kind of like, yeah, you know, if we've only got 4, out of the 6 or whatever, that's cool. You know, we can kind of make do. But back to your point though about pregens, I also find that really helpful for like session zeros, or for a table full of brand new, like people that have never played or played that system.
Yeah.
Having pregens just to say, these aren't going to be your permanent characters, but this is just so like it's balanced for the gameplay, just to get a feel for how shit works. And then, you know, that's a pretty easy way to go.
I'm actually
No, please. No. Fucking
What are you doing, polite? What are you doing? No, I will be trying my first pre-gens in a month. My next time to GM, one of my players is gone, and unfortunately it's one of those pivotal points where it's kind of like they are deciding what they're doing next in the next session, and it's kind of like I could go without him. I could. I don't want to, and that's going to make things weird when he comes back, and I'm just like, you know what? We'll just do a one-shot of some other system, which I know exactly what I'm going to do. But now I'm going, oh shit, I got to make all these pre-gens.
Well, it's kind of that's the beauty of pre-gens, though, is it really shouldn't be a lot of work, I wouldn't think. You should just be able to be like, dump out this kind of a character.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing
system?
Household. It's the
Did you get it?
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah, oh yeah, like. Even if I knew nothing about gaming, I would look at the art of that book and instantly buy it. But yeah, it's by 2 Mice. They also do the Pew Pew. Oh my god, John, what is it called?
It's called Pew Pew, Atlas.
No, what is
that
it
is
called?
The name of the game. Pew Pew 5th edition.
I'd play it just on the name alone.
Outgunned.
Thank you. They do the outgun system, but the Household.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why I should never be allowed in public. But no, I'll be running a one-shot of Household, and I'm planning on doing a campaign on it. But just like you said, I am going to drop these pre-gens on them to get them used to the concept, and then later they can create their own characters. Much later after this campaign's over. So
yeah, it's a good way of doing it. And it's good for the players as well, because they don't have that same emotional attachment to something that they've created.
Right.
This is a character. If you want to get it killed, go have fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is also a really good way of like kind of like beta testing, like exactly how everything works. Like go ahead, go nuts, try to break it, try to kill the character. Like please fuck around and find out. Like 100%.
Don't say that too loud. Connell's in the chat, and now he's gonna do that in my game. He's gonna be like, "All right, let's ride a mouse down the banister and attack the bumblebee." Like he's gonna.
You say that like it's a bad thing. Yeah, Connell. You know what you need to do.
He said, "Hey, buddy."
Connell's in the chat. Connell, ride a mouse down the banister. That's the craziest thing Atlas could come up with. So let's go with it.
I mean, listen. I am slightly impaired today. Okay, let's say I'm not used to this much sugar in my system. It's a
I'm
problem.
looking forward to it. I want to see what happens. I want
No.
have more sugar.
No.
I want to see what happens.
No, you know what? We're gonna shift gears here for a hot second. I don't know where we're shifting it to, but Justin, tell us about your YouTube series you're coming up with.
Okay, so it was Chris's idea. But yeah, it's gonna be a 12-part series that I need to actually really get to recording on those so he can get to editing. But it's just about like kind of an introduction to like TTRPGs in general. So like the first 3 episodes, I'm gonna gear towards like DMs and GMs. On like just kind of how to get started. So like, we'll cover like world building and like how session 0 works and like what I call setting the table, which is like kind of the other things like safety and like also for like yourself as the DMGM, like setting yourself up for success to be able to run a session. Because I know a lot of people like they get through a lot of the hurdles, but they're like, oh my God, I'm about to run the game. What the hell do I do? And they freak out and they have a panic attack, which is normal. Like I get it. There's a lot. There's a lot. You're like, okay, like I've taken care of the players. Like I've got my world. Like I've got all this, but like, what do I do? So that would be kind of my 3rd episode of the like, hey, like as someone who's done this, like here's kind of how to pace yourself. And then the next 3 episodes will be more geared towards like players. So coming up with characters and like how you come up with and integrate like your backstory into the world and make those things fit. And I'd have to look at my notes to see what the other one is, but yeah, it's all kind of like as a player, like getting your character fleshed out for like being integrated into that world. Because I think a lot of people are like, I can come up with a character pretty easy, but how do I make that work cohesively?
So you're basically building a YouTube series and you're living off your name, like the GM's Guide. You're actually it's a guiding system on YouTube basically. It's kind of awesome.
They're gonna be really short. I think we're shooting for like 15 minutes ish for each episode.
Oh my gosh,
it's not gonna be like a lot like super complicated stuff. And then the next 6, so the back half of the series will be I'll go through 6 different TTRPGs. I think I've got it started with like D&D 5e, and then I've got like
good place to start, John.
Yeah, I mean it's a big one, and take it or leave it. That's fine. Yeah. But I've also got like Candela Obscura in there. I think Vampire the Masquerade, Fallout, Salvage Union. So there's some big ones, there's some smaller ones, but like that's the whole point of just be like there's so many different systems out here.
Oh yeah,
and I mean it's been a learning experience for me too, because like Vampire, like I haven't thought about VTM like actually playing it in probably like 20 years. So like I've been talking to people that know these systems and just like tell me about it. And so I'm also going to be like from a fresh perspective, like explaining like, hey, here's the stuff you need to know about this. Like, here's the basics. So
that's so perfect though, because I feel like one of the best things is getting someone's outside opinion, like someone who's new to something or someone who's not very familiar with it, to ask the questions that may not constantly be asked. But I love that you're doing a guide. I mean, it's not what it is, but you very clearly have something that is different from what most people seem to be doing, because there's a lot of like us, we shoot the shit, we talk TTRPG, we have a show, we have interviews, we have a game, we're just across the board encompassing the hobby that we love. We
basically have no idea what we're doing, which
we waffle on. Yeah,
that's cool. I mean, isn't that kind of like how TTRPGs roll anyway? Like
exactly.
It's not a scripted thing.
Yeah, but no, I think
just
it's
kind
great but it's good. I like that you have something you can say, I'm different because, like, this is my show because, like, I love that because, like, yesterday I had a goddamn near panic attack. I almost canceled everybody was sitting in the couches and at their tables and chairs, and I texted Connell and literally, oh yeah, no, he says it right there. What did he say? He charged a giant monster in the darkness. We'll get to that in a second, Connell. But we're sitting there, and I just Connell, I'm like, maybe I should cancel game. And he's like, are you kidding me? Everybody's here. I'm like, I mean, we've handled worse.
And to Connell's point, I'm sure he was like, "Yeah, we have handled worse, so no, we're not canceling the fucking game." Like,
exactly,
no, do it.
exactly. And he did. We saddled up and we got it done.
So tell us more about that game, Alice. Tell us.
Okay, so I was running D&D 5e because it was my very first system that I ever played. I was familiar with it. I was comfortable with it. That's what I was going to GM. I want to try Level Up because it has, like, again, nothing wrong with D&D, but as I was looking at the Level Up, I was like, okay, so it has everything D&D has, and then some. It being able to separate the skills and the abilities, whatnot. I've talked about this before, but I switched, and the session after the switch was a heavy RP session and a heavy puzzle session. So, like, there was a lot of combat. And I already knew the combat was going to be coming up. Okay, like that last session ended with like the encampment being attacked, like brutally, like boom, explosion type situation. And we were going to come back the next session, which was last night, and do the combat. However, I had never done combat in this system, so I was doing the math according to levels and powers and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, this shouldn't kill the party. This should be fine. Like, they are pretty OP, right? But of course, exactly that laugh. I'm sitting there going, I'm going to kill the party. I'm going to kill the party. There is a diseased and kind of like haunted tree involved, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lost Sorrowsworn. They are a creature.
Wait, Sorrowsworn?
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm on board.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow.
Yeah. So they don't have that in Level Up, so I took that and something else in Level Up, and I kind of made like a hybrid homebrew baby out of it. And they had like a swarm of those around the encampment. So nobody died. So I will say that nobody died. Yes, it was a victory. It was hard though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, trying to figure out the different in some advice that was given to me is like, I probably should have just done like a big boss fight with a whole bunch of little dudes. But the little dudes that I had programmed were they were pretty. They took a beating. Like they were high.
Almost died.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve did almost. Steve almost died. Megan almost died. Like, I do have like 2.5 players that actually did almost die, but they didn't.
I mean, but they didn't, so you're fine.
Exactly. They didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally...
They didn't. I mean,
that's fine.
Would have been better if they had have, but that's just me.
Well, though, okay, let's sidebar real fast. Do you guys allow death in your games?
100%.
Okay, cool. I'm not knocking anybody that doesn't,
no,
but I
right.
also feel like if players don't feel like at some point in your games that they are gonna die, then they don't really have stakes in that game. I feel like.
No, personally. I agree.
And that's not to say not every game needs that to feel like you have stakes in the game, but I feel like a lot of games do, and a lot of people, especially so going back to kind of the YouTube series like DMs and GMs and also players. This is a note I need to put in for myself when I talk about this stuff on both sides of the spectrum for people running games and people playing the games. Because I think death absolutely has a place in most games, in most systems. One, it's a great narrative driver.
Yeah.
And then,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Two, like, it really makes you feel like, oh yeah, like there's consequences to actions. I don't mean like in the cheeky way, like the fuck around and find out. That's every session. There should be some of that. But I mean, I mean like the actual, like the serious, like when you're doing things and you guys are making choices as a group and as individuals, those choices have consequences. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But I feel like that really adds such a big element to games.
Yeah. I also feel like, oh, go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say, I have seen, like, more prominently now than I ever used to. Like, GMs going, no, we keep away. Character death is not a thing. And I think that's a bit more of a modern take. I can understand why, because I think, it is about driving a narrative, and sometimes the narrative doesn't accommodate for loss. But at the same time, I feel very strongly that it should, or it should at least be on the table.
Yeah, I will give credit to I'll call them deathless GMs. There's a type and place for that kind of story and role play. Like, for example, Sammy. Okay, like, we love Sammy. She's going to be playing her first game with us. If I had her create a character that she was absolutely in love with, and then I just like annihilated her character in the first episode. Oh, too bad. Like, she's never gonna want to play again. Like, that's, so I understand that there are certain situations where, like, okay, yes, you're going to protect the players in certain situations. But for me, I'm with you guys. Like, death can be such a beautiful storyteller. And to this day, like one of my very, very, very early Connell games, I didn't die, but one of the other players died, and it was kind of sort of my fault on accident. And my character is super naive, super alien. And it was just, she like basically was holding her friend's body. And it was this horrible, like awful thing. And in real life, I'm crying because the player is like, I'm going to flip a coin. Nah, I don't make it. And I'm like, no, like you have to make it.
In the homebrew, in the Pathfinder homebrew that I just recently concluded about a couple of months or a month ago, I didn't have many character deaths during the whole 20 level campaign, and a lot of that is Pathfinder 2nd edition. It's just ridiculously fucking hard to die.
Yeah, the later levels, it gets hard. It gets hard to kill a character sometimes. So I hear that.
But one of them did die, and this player was hugely attached to this character, and there was all sorts of bargaining, and it was like, no, she's got. And one thing I said to her was, the story's not over. You're not playing that character anymore, but her story is not over.
Right.
And I did this like wrap up after the session which she died, where she went to the afterlife, she met her god, and I kind of left it hanging there. And then in the final session, I did a montage of like the world and everybody that the players had interacted with started fighting back to save their world. And one of the things I did was I had her character become like a general for the armies of heaven. And that was part of the montage. And that was what I meant. It's like, your story is not over. You're not playing her anymore. You're saying a temporary farewell, but the story's not over. The story is going to carry on.
Yeah. That's actually very similar to one of our Mutants and Masterminds games. We have a universe. Like, the campaign is an entire universe, but like every time we start a new campaign, it's a new team of superheroes in that universe. And we had gotten so attached to different teams, and things had moved on. We'd passed on. And this, like, the moon's breaking apart. This great evil is attacking the planet. And just to give like an idea, at the time I was playing an alien character, and we had this moment where it's like we needed this specific weapon, and literally we're looking around as players going, what is Connell doing? Because like we can't like we're fucked. We don't have the weapon. Like, this is bad. And then all of a sudden, Connell describes this character basically just like superhero landing, with the weapon, and it was one of my old characters that like caught the weapon in midair, and I'm like, oh shit. And next thing we know, all of our other teams that we'd ever played before, like in that timeline, were helping our current. It was so cool. Like, I mean, granted, there's only 3 teams at the time, but still, it was that same concept of like the story. Just because the character is gone does not mean that the story is gone. And I love that. And I like, that's fantastic. You did that in your game, John, because that's so valuable.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the protagonist isn't necessarily the characters. The protagonist is the story that is being told.
Yeah.
That's a good way to frame it.
That can be done through the eyes of whichever character.
Yeah. And that's a thing of mine. Like, when I'm creating a character for certain stories, I want to know about the story. I mean, granted, if it's like Couch dropping me in Fabula, where I'm like, okay, I hit things. I know nothing about the world or the storyline. Let's go. It's so much fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm so looking forward to more of that. But like, if I know this is going to be a long-term story and there's like a world and a setting and everything, I want to know that because I want to build a character, like kind of like what you said, Justin, where it's in the story, it's in the world. Like, it's not just like, oh, I have this character I want to play. It's kind of like, no, they come from like West End that, crossed over. Their dad works at I mean, not the backstory, but so I have a concept of that character being in the story, and that's, yeah.
I think, I mean, just a lot of the things that you guys were just talking about. So like when I when I wrap up my game, I don't want to give spoilers in case my players happen to see this or
Right?
whatever, but what you were saying about how the story isn't over about like, and you had this montage of like people that interacted with. That is something that I have already kind of planned out because I've met so many like integral like NPCs for these different like chapters and moments along the way, and there's going to be this kind of grand finale where they will see kind of in a musical where you have that reprise number at the end.
Yeah.
It'll be this like everybody's there kind of a moment, and I really have not told them about this at all. I mean, they know the end is in sight. They don't know what that end is going to look like.
Yeah.
But I've hinted along the way, especially for one of the characters they really got attached to, my Warforged Artificer that they cried over. He's not dead, but he's like, I've got things I need to deal with. You guys have got things, and basically like created a teleportation circle, like shoved them back to where they need to go.
Oh, that's so why? That's awful.
But that's it.
He'll be back though.
You know, we as GMs, we kind of shepherd these stories. We kind of leave these breadcrumbs for the players to kind of follow, but also create their own stories from that. And you know, that was a huge thing. I knew that I would do that at the very beginning of the campaign. I knew how it would end.
That's a point I want to like. Jess, do you know when you start your campaign? Do you know where it's going to end? Like, do you have? I know that there's obviously the players can take whatever went and mold the story, but like, do you have this is where they're starting? We don't know how they're going to get here, but this is how they're going to get. Like, do you have that?
So with this current campaign, my Dark Heart of the Dragon Below campaign, I knew from the beginning. Here's the beginning, and somehow we're going to get to this end. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But there's some points in between. I was like, basically, as long as we hit these kind of like milestones, then narratively, the arc will kind of fulfill itself.
Okay.
Now, again, I've given them a lot of agency, and I feel like they'd agree with that they have definitely gone. You know, I was talking in Chris's interview the other day about this. Even though I had these two like huge goalposts, everything in between was all up to them.
Yeah.
So, but now I will say, like with Off the Rails, my new campaign, I have given a lot of beginning, and I have things going on in the background, but I don't know what that's going to entail. Especially since I have both. Once I finish this campaign, this table, my in-person table, they will then switch over to this campaign, which we've played a couple of sessions in, and they are very excited about. But then I've also had a play-by-post group going. They were kind of my beta test for working out some kinks in this, and that's been going for a little over a year now. So in game time, we haven't gone very far because it's play-by-post. It's a lot slower.
Right.
But so all of their interactions and my players' interaction, my in-person table, they're all happening simultaneously. And I've told them this. I said, so when you guys do things over here and you guys do things over here, sometimes you guys will cross paths, especially if you're in like one of these towns and things like that. And so I've started, now that I've had a couple of sessions with the in-person table and the play-by-post group, they have seen and interacted. I treat them as like NPCs in their opposing tables, essentially. But like I get the input from like my players on either side and say, hey, your character is going to be encountering this other group or these characters, you know, help guide me on this because I want this narrative to work. And everybody's really interested in that. But, you know, like I've got in the play-by-post, sorry, I know I got a little off track here, but trust me.
No. Oh my gosh.
Focusing back in here.
Trust me, there's no off the tracks on this show.
We don't have tracks.
Yeah,
perfect.
No, we are off the rails.
Perfect. Love it. So in the play-by-post right now, there are two people that have gone off to do kind of their own side quest. I've got an individual who is doing his kind of own side quest, and I've got everybody that's kind of back in town. So because the play-by-post, there's not like an overarching narrative. Whereas then when I get into my in-person table, they will probably all stick together because that'll be a more traditional group. So I'm interested to see the things that they find narratively interesting and what things they want to go do, because all of this stuff will be happening at the same time. So it's kind of an experiment for me. in having a completely different campaign setup, because there
Yeah.
are things going on in the background of the world that are very bad, and they will probably at some point stumble across these things and be like, oh, what's this? And it's totally up to them on if they pursue those things or if they just focus on more of the day-to-day stuff.
I love that.
That sounds good.
That sounds really good.
Hey,
Like,
I will say, from a logic perspective, because I started their groups narratively and chronologically a little bit apart, I'm having to kind of weave those things a little bit. But I like that narrative tapestry of weaving these threads, because I've also got all these lore threads and things, like I said, and different people have kind of figured out these little hints and stuff. So, they're like down here, they have this little string that they're interested in. I've got players over here with another string, and it's like, do they cross at some point or what? But
that
for
sounds
me, that's
vaguely
exciting.
That's super exciting, because that reminds me of what's happening with inmates right now. There's a Mutants and Masterminds game that John and I are playing in, where I'm also playing in that universe as a different character, and we did a one shot with our home team or home table, whatever.
Home team.
Yeah, sorry. And he was dropping names and locations and words that as Atlas, I'm going, oh my God, that's from inmates. Like I'm putting things together. The rest of the players don't know this. And then I'm just like, have to pop back as Halo in my inmates game, and I know nothing. And I'm like, this is torture. This is absolute torture. But it'll narratively weave together, and it'll kind of chronologically make sense once it actually hits. But I'm just like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I wasn't going to reveal this now, but seeing as we're kind of like on kind of the topic, as if I wasn't busy enough, I've got a couple of projects in mind.
Yeah, right.
One of them I'm not going to talk about just yet, but the other one I was thinking the other day, because I've been wanting to run a homebrew Blades in the Dark-esque campaign, but set in a cyberpunk city. Now, the thing about Blades in the Dark, it does lend itself very, very well for the one shot, for the kind of self-contained progression. So what I was thinking is probably building that, maybe getting together with a bunch of other GMs, building a city, as it were, and each GM runs a table of a different crew.
Oh my gosh.
So basically, they'd be in different parts of the city while the crew was small, but when the crew got to a substantial size, then they would start interloping. They would start overlapping, not necessarily with the characters, so we wouldn't be having to deal with PvP or anything like that. But it'd be a case of, okay, so this crew is infringed on this crew's territory, and just have all that come into a central point of one person managing everything. So basically, okay, so you did that. Okay, so you've gained points with this NPC crew. Cool. Right, you've gained points. Oh, they're against you. And just have an actual living sort of community of these different gangs.
That's so, like, I'm here for it. I love it. I love that idea, but my brain is going, what the hell? Like,
welcome to my mind, Atlas.
You're one of those chaos creatives where it's like you have so much going on at the same time that it's like everywhere. Like you said, like you don't have enough.
The problem with me is once I get something in mind, I can't let it go until I at least try and manifest it.
I feel that.
The beauty of this show is that it has given me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, creative outlet for sure. Which I think everybody needs in some shape or form. Like, honestly, I'm not going to get on that tangent.
I will be approaching multiple GMs, just kind of going, right, Blades in the Dark, put a team together. We'll build this city, and rock
and roll. Or...
There we go. My mind went there as well. My partner would be screaming that song right now.
I know. So Carl just said his original English is hard. His original Mutants and Masterminds campaign was 3 GMs running 3 different tables. I should not speak English. Tres meses.
No, I like that idea, and I just want to give a big shout out to the Weathered Forever DM, who is over on Twitch. We are now streaming on Twitch as well.
Hey!
Just we wanted to try it, see if it worked. Seems to be working.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
there is
Exciting.
that.
Howdy. Thanks for watching. And also, Inadequate Dungeon popped in. Says that he doesn't have any roadmaps. No roadmaps for his players. Yeah. I have, jumping back just a little bit, we have 3 GMs running 3 systems right now at our home table. So we're just constantly rotating out every week, basically. And the biggest problem that I'm running into that is that I'm like you guys, like I have this is where we're starting, this is where it'll end at some point, right? And there's like little things that is really funny because chaos. But like I feel sometimes like I bit off more than I can chew. Because this storyline I've had ready for years. This campaign I've had for years. Like I have everything figured out. And it's big. It's big. And it's not like, oh, we're in this little like fantasy, whatever here. Like I have this huge thing set up. But sometimes I'm like, did I make this too big? Is this a little over? Like, this isn't we're going to go slay the dragon in the cave. This is more like continental political, like, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, you're doing the whole political thing. It's like, all the moving parts.
Yeah, like kings that are gone and people trying to like take rightful.
Usurp
I can't say
crowns.
human. Yeah, there's false crowns and there's some lore and prophecies mixed into it and religion. It's. I don't deep dive into it. I don't want to like put too much stuff to my players. Don't want it, but if they want it, I give it to them. Like it's whatever they want. But it is one of those situations where like last night at the fight, I'm going. They have so much information that I don't even think they've put 2 and 2 together yet. I'm just like, oh man, when y'all figure this out. But like now I as a GM, I'm sitting on it going, like, it's right there, guys.
Yeah.
Not asking the right questions. That's okay. We'll get there.
I've tried to do some political intrigue stuff with my Dark Heart group, and they're just it's not their jam. So
Yeah.
I moved away from that, and so like with Off the Rails, there's no politics. It's the Wild West. Fuck it.
Yes, I love that. I have to have with our table, but we can't do straight up politics. Like if it gets even slightly like morally gray, nope, it does not go well. But if I weave some like high fantasy magic prophecy into this politics, suddenly it's like they're on board, and I'm like, okay,
There you go.
I can do this. But I'll play Western with aliens.
Well, so Atlas, if you would like, when you open up your server to have like closed door games, I could theoretically do another play-by-post style if
that'd be cool. That'd be
so
very
then
cool.
we
I
would
will
have,
write you down. Yeah,
we could have 3 groups simultaneously in the world.
that'd be cool. That'd be very, very cool.
Yeah, I've never done play-by-post. I've always been interested in the concept, but I don't know.
It's very
For anybody watching that doesn't know what that is, please explain. Yeah,
so play-by-post, it's very text-heavy. Obviously, you're not at a table, so it's not live in the way that like a table would be. It's done in like Discord or something like that. Back in the day, it used to even be just on forum posts where like everybody would reply and things like that. But I would say it's a lot more like RP and narrative heavy. It's less mechanics, and that's not to say that we haven't had like fights and combat. I've absolutely done that. It just gets a little verbose because you're having to type it all out, but that's fine. Like I've found some formatting that works for me. But yeah, I think so. Play by post really allows people who want to like experience a world but don't have the full dedicated time to do like a 4-hour session or something like that. You can literally just like hop on for like, on your lunch break or on your evening downtime or whatever, and like kind of catch up with what's going on. And then so as like the DM running that, it can either just be like you doing your own thing while everybody else is doing their own things, or it can be a group thing. It's just one of those things that if it is going to be a group thing, we try to find maybe like a collective little bit of like an evening to where people can kind of like then more actively kind of do things as a group. But it allows you to kind of like solo play a bit.
I'm always shocked at how many people have actually done play by post, because I remember growing up think like that, like nobody heard of it. Granted, it was called something completely different where I did it. But I'm watching like Inadequate Dungeon, did some play by post. Connell did some for Vampire Masquerade. Like that just blows my mind, because I'm coming into this community. It's always D&D and tables and actual plays and blah 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 blah. And so to hear people go like, oh yeah, no, we do the play by post. It makes me giggle a little inside. So I'm like, oh, I remember that. But again, different format completely. But yeah, like, it's all good.
Yeah, it can be fun. Like I said, it's a lot slower pace. If you're getting into it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be like a table. No, it's very, very different than a table setting.
Imagine. So how would, like, for example, because you play D&D, which is similar to the stuff I've played as Pathfinder. So how would you kind of resolve a combat in D&D? Because I can't imagine you'd go round by round.
So it kind of depends on the situation. Like we had one combat that was kind of like on the run, and that's really hard to do in a play-by-post. So I kind of just like, I did it round by round, but I did it where like you guys can all take a turn, and then the other stuff will take a turn. So it's less like person by person, and as long as everybody's getting their chance to do things.
Yeah.
And then also that allowed people who weren't going to be like active, they could be like, this is what I'd like to do next. Like we could just have those conversations like in our kind of like meta chat that goes along with the actual game itself. So then I could kind of like plan, okay, that's cool. If you're not here, then I can just kind of roll for that.
That's great that you do that.
But yeah, I just try to make it as simple as possible, because I don't want things to get like super bogged down. And then essentially, I have people like, I'll have them roll for it, or I'll tell like what they're, like I need you to roll specifically for like this and that or whatever. But then, and I'll tell you, yes, that is a success, or no, that is a failure. And I also like to use a sliding scale where it's not just like a pass or a fail. There's kind of in between stuff, which you see in a lot of other systems that have kind of adapted for 5e. I think narratively it's more fun. And then with that, then I say, okay, so like here's like how much you either pass by or how much you kind of fail by. Feel free to narrate that how you'd like. And so that it gives them that kind of that narrative control. So I'm not just typing every single thing like this person misses and this person does this. Yeah. It really kind of like takes that off of me, but also lets them be involved in that story and that telling of what's going on.
I just want to give a big shout out to the chat, because we do have a still Justin in the chat.
Oh my gosh.
So he is
Look
alive.
At that. We weren't sure, to be honest.
He is alive. We have found another bearded Justin.
Yes. This is what we've just, if you haven't seen it, Justin, that you are now John's Justin. You're a British Justin, and I have this Justin. This is Atlas Justin, which is not British at all.
No. I could do a very terrible British accent that nobody would appreciate. No. I'm not paid enough to do that here.
I do on accident. I don't know if John has caught up on it yet, but we'll be playing like a session or something, and we'll be chit-chatting and like shooting the shit. And when I'm mocking someone to make them sound like, oh, they're bougie, I'll slip into an English accent. I don't realize I'm doing it. And I got super self-conscious of it when I was with the guys. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't do that.
You do realize that I won't take any sort of offense.
Yeah, well, I hope not. You probably wouldn't even notice that's what I was doing, because it's so bad. Like,
it's probably an amalgamation of every English-speaking accent ever.
I have to make a correction. Connell is right. This Justin is actually Connell's Justin, because let me tell you something. When we all met on Threads, okay, and Threads came out with their voice notes, do y'all remember that night where everybody was just voice note and left and right and sideways, and like it was this weird, amazing phenomenon. Like, it was great. And Justin over here, our Justin, non-British Justin.
Apparently the other Justin's not British either, so you might want to fix that.
Yeah,
I mean, he lives in England, whatever. You get my point. Also, I hope everyone that's watching this knows I'm joking. Okay, we're all friendly firing here. But no, you had done a voice
of the
note.
British Isles is in arms.
I know.
I can hear the tutting from my window.
I'll make you scones or something. I don't know.
There's even a huff now. There's a huff.
Oh, stop it. Well, no, this is Connell's Justin, because Justin had made this post about, I think it was Off the Rails, and he did it in this like super deep, like gravelly cowboy voice.
Oh yeah.
And Connell like fanboyed so hard. He's like, "Did you hear this Justin guy, the DM's guide?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he sent me the post. And I'm like, "Oh wow, yeah, okay." So for days, Connell is like threading Justin, going like, "Are you like, hey, you should give us information on this. You should post about this." So I take back what I said. This is Connell Justin.
That's fair enough.
He was the original hardcore fanboy.
Those Gossip Towns just giving Connell what he needs.
If you guys, whoever's here, is more than welcome to join my Discord and hop on our weekend stream, because we were actually discussing Connell trying to sneak in and cuddling with certain people on my stream. Not me.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, I wasn't even in that conversation. I mean,
Yeah, you were.
I was in a conversation, but no one wanted to fucking come and snuggle with me, did they? No.
You don't have a wharf.
It was all about Craig's wharf.
But yes, it's a good time. Oh my gosh. So we've talked about Jess, we've talked about me. What do you have coming up, John, for gaming?
For gaming. Well, we've got the next couple of episodes of Fabula Ultima coming out in the next, this week and the next. Then after that, we've got, I'm not entirely sure how many episodes it's going to be until I finish editing, but we've got Call of Cthulhu. That looks good. That was GM by Forever DM Justin.
A different
it involves another Justin. We've got a third Justin. He GM'd that for Juicy Garland, for Misfit Playland, and for Northwolf, and myself. And fuck me, I have not laughed that much in a long time.
Yeah, I saw a clip that you posted earlier, and I was rolling.
I had to do the clip. I haven't even edited the show. It's like I need to get this clip out because it was so fucking funny, and at the timing of it, because it was when, because Call of Cthulhu is a dire game. It becomes quite dark quite quickly.
I mean, it has Cthulhu in the name, so
exactly. So
hang on a minute. I love Cthulhu. I collect little plushy Cthulhus, and I love them dearly. I'm actually going to crochet a big Cthulhu backpack. Just
do it.
So we're in this dark moment, and all of a sudden he came out with that, and that's it. It's just he had us rolling around in laughter. But I played a character that very against type for me, but I had a ton of fun with. So I can't wait for everybody to see that. And then coming up at some point in the very near future, Atlas, we got some Delta Green.
Yes, I'm excited for that. I really am.
Yeah. What else? I feel like Critting the Nerdverse is happening soon as well, where we get together with our friends. I've got so much on my plate.
And see, I'm getting there. I keep sounding like a broken record, but once I moved, because there's so many things. I got to update a whole bunch of my online stuff. I'm going to be more active here. I'm going to launch my, closed door gamings in my Discord. I'm excited. Why do we do this to ourselves though? At what point does it become hobby to job? Well,
that's
it's a very blurred line from what I'm finding out.
As much as I'm kind of putting on myself, as much as I'm kind of signing up for and organizing, I'm not at the point where it feels like I have to. I'm at the point where it's I'm still having fun.
Okay, as I say, that's my thing. Is the minute it stops, it's a game, you're supposed to have fun. The minute you stop having fun, for me, it's you need to take a stop and you need to reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Because behind everything that I'm doing and organizing, what was it, Saturday, Atlas, where I went, I've got an idea.
Those are dangerous words.
I think it was
somebody with a limited schedule.
I was on my way to play Kingmaker when I went,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I've got an idea. And everybody went, all right, you're insane. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not wrong, but fuck me, that's going to be great.
You're not wrong.
No,
I say that a lot.
No. Yeah.
So I will be kind of giving people a bit more information about that.
Okay.
Soon.
Okay. Now, Justin, do you like you're talking about D&D 5e, Eberron is your baby right now. Is there a system in the wings that you're like, oh, I really want to try that one? Like, is there something you kind of got in the back burner?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I bought the Fallout by Modiphius. It's a 2d20 system.
Okay.
Which I love Fallout. I love games with a lot of lore, and Fallout has a lot of lore. I'm a lore whore. I'll fully admit that.
Well, there's an episode title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We're all lore whores here.
There's that. But then I talked to the creator of Salvage Union recently for my YouTube series, and he just sent me the core rulebook for just because, and
which is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, you literally only need a single D20 to play it, which is cool. And it's like, so if you ever played like a mech game, you know that usually those systems are incredibly crunchy. There's a lot to them. Salvage Union kind of like takes the neat aspects about a mech game and makes it a lot simpler, I feel like, to run with. Like, you don't have like a table for every single thing. It's a lot more of that sliding scale of outcomes of like, yep, you absolutely nailed it, to no, you absolutely did not nail it, and things in between.
You just blew up your own
yeah, we covered Salvage Union on the show a few months back, and I was massively impressed with it.
Yeah,
I am mechs are my happy place. Probably gives me shit for it, but I don't care. Like, I love them so much.
He's just wrong. So
right? See, there we go. There we go. John's wrong about D&D. Connell's wrong about mechs.
I'm not wrong.
You are.
No, it's fine. You can have your own opinion, but you're still wrong. It's fine.
Exactly. Hey, see, Justin's getting it.
Girl, I've always
not to
got
other
it.
people. I was like, see, there we go. As he drinks his coffee. I need coffee so bad.
A triumphant sip as well.
Yeah.
So I'm
trying
do the
to
same.
think.
I finished my coffee, but still.
Yeah, mine's almost done. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's any other systems I've got necessarily, I would say, are like on the back burner. Covenant Crucible.
Oh yeah.
That's a ton of fun.
We actually have our first game scheduled.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Finally. Yeah.
So speaking of Covenant Crucible, I think I may as well just use that as a segue to give a mention our partners.
Yeah.
One of them happens to be Covenant Crucible. So 13th Moon Games, it's a family-run indie game company out of Wyoming, USA. They created the tabletop role-playing game Covenant Crucible. It's a game of modern-day witchcraft. If you can imagine the John Wick movies and the last Witch Hunter movie, they got together and had a really pretty baby. Covenant Crucible would be it. Check them out. Find them on Threads. Find them on Patreon. Find them on Instagram. They're everywhere. It is a phenomenal system with, if we're lore whores, it's just so satisfying because there is so much involved, with all the different sort of clans of witches and how much you can interact with them. Atlas, you lost it at Law Horse.
She looks like she's about to lose it.
No, my brain just said one of those things. I'm sitting here going like, we finally have our game scheduled. I'm like, no shit. Justin's playing in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we crossed the streams finally.
Yeah, I was like, right.
Yeah, by the way, Connell says, neither am I, John. We're right. Thank you very much, Connell. Also, check out Deals of Opportunity. It's the automatic, simple, and free way to save on tabletop role-playing games that you want. Just add your Drive-Thru RPG and Dungeon Masters Guild wish list and get notified anytime a title on your list goes on sale. You just set it up and save. And I would be very much remiss if I didn't mention our own thing. So check out our merch store where you can find t-shirts, hoodies, desk mats, other items, all branded with our logo or our Supernatural-inspired waffle-on stuff. And also, if you like what we do, then you can support us by subscribing or just telling your friends about us. You can even go to our Ko-fi account if you wanted to donate to the show.
And I'm just going to tell everybody here, if you have a special lady friend, that waffle-on shirt, get it in like the biggest size possible because it turns into a dress. And that's been all I've been wearing this summer to the pool. Like, bathing suit on, waffle-on shirt on, go to the pool. Super comfy.
So you were speaking of, you were mentioning the Modifius Fallout game. We actually played that. We
Nice.
were going
I'm
to have
jealous.
that as an episode of the Crit List, but the production side of it fell fucking through. But we had a ton of fun with it. Justin, still Justin, wasn't a huge fan of it, but Couch and Chris really enjoyed it. It's good. I'm not a big Fallout fan, but I enjoyed how quickly it started moving once we got used to the mechanics.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've only read the core rulebook, so I don't really have. So let me back up. I've got the rulebook. I've got the Settler's Guide, and then my wife just got me the Winter of Adam like campaign to go with it. So it seems like once you get used to rolling like the 6s for stuff and the 20, like it would probably be something that you pick up pretty easy. In theory, anyway, it looks really neat. Plus, like I said, I just love Fallout, so I wouldn't be bothered by a mechanic system. I wouldn't let that hold me back.
That's actually why I haven't my entire like college 20s, was not I didn't do a lot of things I want to do. Let's put it that way. So I love Fallout. I've seen other people play it. I have not played it myself. I watched the new show. I love it dearly. Everyone keeps telling me I need to go back and play the games. I actually do not want to play the games until I play a tabletop role-playing game because I kind of want that to be my experience into that lore.
That's fair. So I will say the Modifius one, because there are a few other iterations of Fallout TTRPGs out there. That one definitely takes place around the Fallout 4 area, so it's like the Boston area. Okay. So if you were going to play one, I would probably suggest that. Okay. And I think if I remember what I read, the premise of that, like where they bring you into the story, is like just before the events of Fallout 4.
I do believe so. In the quick start, they do kind of explain it. You visit a vault that is only mentioned in 4.
Yeah, but
very cool.
if you were to play one, like maybe after you've played like a couple of games in that system, I think playing Fallout 4 would probably be really beneficial because then you'd be able to see a lot of these areas that are kind of covered, and also obviously like the factions like the Institute, the Minutemen, Brotherhood of Steel, those kinds of things.
Okay. All right. Well, when I do that, I'll make sure to upload the playthrough, and you can laugh at me while I play because
awesome.
It's an experience when I play video games.
Yeah. Now,
leave it at that.
So I don't know how much more time we've got, but as a little tangent to Fallout, because I am the lore person that I am, I really enjoy Fallout 76 and 3 and 4, and I like the different elements of these things. And I know in 4, 3 is tied in with the Brotherhood and stories there. And I'm not going to say a lot more than that. I'm just going to say they tie that in just because I don't want to. I know the game's been out for forever at this point, but I still don't want to mess with anybody who is new to it. But they kind of continue on that story of, at least for the Brotherhood, of that kind of progression of where they've gone and where they're going. But then with Fallout 76, it takes place, it's like 180 years before the events of like Fallout 4, and 3 is 10 years before 4. So because I liked some of the factions and I love Appalachia and things like that, I wrote 185 years of lore to get the Appalachia area, like in Fallout, like up to speed with the DC area of 3 and the Boston area of 4, but then also the areas that you see in those. So like the Pit with Pittsburgh, there's Far Harbor with Fallout 4, there's Nuka World with 4. So I've integrated all of this over kind of like on the general East Coast side. So I've already done a lot of homebrew, even though I've never played in the system.
That's amazing.
That was like the most kid in the candy hand in the jar. Cookies, hand. That's what that was.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if you actually wanted to run a one-shot in like the Fallout Modifius, I'm sure we could put a table together.
I might.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
If you are interested, just let me know, and we'll get it sorted.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of time, of course, as you guys understand. Right. But yeah, if I can make it work, maybe maybe like around the holidays. I mean, I'm just spitballing. Don't even like put that as like a pencil it in. But I would say like towards like the end of the year,
It is
maybe.
Give me a shout whenever.
That's my Christmas gift to Connell. We're playing Fallout. I almost
Yeah,
said Farscape again.
Whenever, just give me a shout and we'll set something up. That's kind of how I do like most of my organizing. I'll see someone on Threads kind of go, "Hey, I haven't played Vampire the Masquerade for a while." It's like, sorry, hi. So hence Juicy Garland is running us through Vampire the Masquerade on July the 6th.
This is gonna be awesome.
Now, is it gonna be like 4th of July themed? Because I feel like that would be a wild crossover that needs to happen.
I'm not entirely sure. When I arrange for the crit list, I basically hand the reins over to whoever's GMing and just kind of go, I'm just gonna press record.
And just see what happens.
That's it.
That's
and then the rest is you. This is your table. Do what you need to do. And I have now done that. I've given that to Juicy, and I cannot fucking wait.
Oh no, that's gonna be phenomenal either way. I was just curious because I'm ridiculous.
I'm stuck on a character concept though. Really stuck. I was thinking I've got a couple in mind, but one of them's a vampire who is still stuck in the 80s and worships David from the Lost Boys.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, we were talking about that. We were talking talking about running a Vampire the Masquerade game, but themed as like the Lost Boys.
Yeah, so basically he's going to be, because we're playing in modern times, so I think he's just going to be like 80s.
Yes, I love
He's going to have the white hair and the black jacket, and he's going to take himself far too fucking seriously.
Honestly, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I've never
played Vampire, but I watch people play it. I've read it. I love it. I want to play it. But Connell has promised me that even though it's not Vampire, he is going to plan on running probably a one-shot or a minigame for our home table of Werewolf.
Nice.
So mainly because I think mechanically that will work better for our other players. But I don't care. I'm excited. I want to do some World of Darkness stuff. So
yeah, me too. And if Connell's running World of Darkness, he needs an extra player.
I'll let him know.
Yeah. I think
I'm so used to him picking up his kid from school. Like his timeline is ingrained in my brain that I'm like, oh no, because school's out now. I'm like, all right,
school's out for summer.
Yes. Let's all go to the pool.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely that Modifius Fallout game is fun. But I mean, because it is a shared system, once you've played that, you can then kind of play Achtung Cthulhu. I want to do Cohorts Cthulhu. It's just, Romans fighting existential horror. What more do you want? I want biggest dickus fighting against a Yethound.
Let's not illustrate and draw. All these things come out of your mouth sometimes, and I'm just like, where would I even start?
Well, biggest dickus is easy. It's just Monty Python and The Life of Brian.
That's true. That's very true.
Then...
we probably don't have enough time, but I'm just gonna blurt it out real quick because I totally forgot in our shenanigans about talking about DMing and GMing and games and all that. Justin Eats Snaps.
Oh
yes. To be honest, I had planned to talk to you more about map making because I do my own as well.
It's totally fine. I kind of started it as a little side hustle just because it's something that I already do, and it hasn't really gone anywhere. Just full transparency, but yeah, I have commissions open where if people wanted, I just use Incarnate,
which is great,
to make maps. Primarily fantasy D&D-esque.
Yeah,
more is my jam. You can do a lot of things with that. I've seen people just do art with the assets that have nothing to do with maps, and it's wild and crazy. But yeah, if you just need if you need a map for something, hit me up.
Yeah, yep.
It's just something. Like I said,
I need to start making my maps publicly available. I think I'm just going to upload them to OneDrive or something, and I just let people have it because I don't think anybody's going to pay any money for my shit. So they're more than welcome.
I might just do that too. I might just start uploading them and just be like, yeah, if you follow me or subscribe on Ko-Fi or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a really good idea. That's actually something I'm trying to revamp as my Patreon is like I'm gonna start revamping like the costs, the rewards. I also want to integrate Ko-Fi more because I feel like people are actually wanting to use that more than just straight up like PayPal or Patreon. So there's a lot of ways that creatives can actually, you know, side hustle and still have fun for the hobby.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connell just put something in the chat, Atlas.
Yeah.
Did you tell us about how you're trying for green roning mutants and masterminds are?
I didn't tell you that because it's not really a big deal. Curly, our dear friend Curly from Threads, had made a post forever ago about like, hey, Green Ronin's looking for artists, and I ignored it because I was kind of like, yeah, no, that's not like I'm not like up to scale on par for that. And then Green Ronin Publishing, we follow each other on TikTok, and I saw their thread about they posted the same thing, basically saying like, "Hey, if you have ideas, come check out this post." But their post was in their it's like a closed like community group. So I applied for that to see if I can get in, and I'm going to be kind of touching base with them and seeing if I can maybe work with them a bit on their character, because that's my I can do character art for pretty much any setting. But I don't know what it is, if it's because I've played so much Mutants Masterminds or because I love the superhero world so much. I can whip together superheroes so fast. I love doing art for like character designs and stuff like that. So I'm just it's not a big deal. I'm just kind of throwing my line out there, being like, hey guys, like I've already been doing your artwork for 5 years. Maybe I could like work with you guys. So
no, I think that's amazing, cool. And you know, all the best of luck in the world, because I think you'll smash it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, again, once I moved.
Listen, it's a hell of a post qualifier, so I get it. Moving is a whole deal.
Yeah, especially like 3 states away. Like it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a big thing that's got.
It's not a nothing move.
No, that's a
Well, I do believe that's about all we've got time for tonight.
Okay.
I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's kind of joined us in chat and has interacted with us. It's fantastic to see you. It's fantastic to see some new faces. And now that we're exploring the world of Twitch, it's kind of like exciting times ahead as well, meeting new people there as well. So, you know, thanks a million. Justin, I want to say thank you for coming on the show with us tonight. You know, just talking to us about your new upcoming project. Tell the viewers where they can find you, what we can expect to see from you anytime soon. Please.
Oh God. Well, so that's the thing is I'm not really like, I'm kind of just now getting into kind of more of the creator space, like in a traditional sense. So, I mean, if you want to just interact with me and talk to me about whatever, especially if it's TTRPG related, just come find me on Threads. It's probably the easiest place to find me. It's TheDMsGuide on both Threads and Insta. If you're in Atlas's Discord, I'm there. Eventually, through Chris Corvin's the Dripping Creative Cafe, the Creative Cafe, there will be YouTube videos going up under that banner. So,
great.
I think that's about it for me, really.
All right, fantastic.
Plenty
Atlas,
enough.
thank you very much for joining me as well, Atlas. Do you want to tell people whereabouts they can find you?
Yes, and I kind of have to segue this so that I don't get yelled at. But you guys need to check your Discord, because that's where you can find me in my Discord. Connell is a joke that I think is falling on deaf ears. I am Atlas.Ursa at TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Discord. If you want to come hang out with me, the link is open on at pretty much any bio that I have on social media. Yeah, come hang out. I'm just like Justin. I'm most active on Threads, but if you hop in my Discord, we have a weekly TTRPG art / absolutely insane shenanigans. Yeah, chaos. It's like an open Discord stream of just a hangout, and it's a lot of fun.
It is chaos. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As for me, you can find me at naturaljuan@dice.camp on Mastodon. You can also find me at natural.juan on Threads. That is where I'm most active. Also, I'm behind all of the social media for the show. So if you want to get in touch with us, by all means, if something I say pisses you off, it's gonna be me, because I will piss people off. That is my go-to.
I'll go behind him and start apologizing. I'm sorry.
But if you like what we do and you kind of want to see more, then give us a like, a rating, subscribe, interact with us. We now have a Ko-Fi account, which if you wanted to like buy us a coffee, as it were, it just helps towards kind of production expenses and whatnot, which we'd be massively appreciated for. We love being part of this community. We want to grow with it. We want to see it grow, and we want to just help promote our peers and the people that we are fortunate enough to get to meet. But most importantly of all, I want to thank everybody who's taken time out of their busy day to listen to three idiots waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much, and good night.